Hello, this is my day 7 drawing for Inktober. I didn't record myself doing the initial sketch. Also, you'll notice to the left, I accidentally left my phone in the frame. I use an app on my phone to control my camera's recording and keep track of how the frame looks, and left it on the side without noticing. Hopefully it doesn't bug you too much. I think I was inspired this because I'd been binge watching 72 Most Dangerous Animals in Australia on Netflix. Plus I thought the texture and ridges of a crocodile would be fun, but I couldn't resist putting my own spin on it and gave him a lovely bowl and a glass of wine. I used my Pilot Pocket brush pen to add my initial lines, and experimented a bit with pressure and adding thicker lines and thinner lines. I do find drawing thinner lines is much more of a challenge for me. The line will start off thin, and then, I don't know, it's like my hand starts to put more pressure on its own, so I really need to work on that muscle. His back has the most textury weird points, so I ended up chickening out and deciding to leave that for last. I also thought the way I ended up shading and drawing the rest of him would give me a better idea of how detailed I should go in the back. Because if his face isn't very detailed, but then the back area is super hyper realistic because I'm really trying hard to make it look like a real crocodile, it would look really weird. The video sped up, but I actually colored in between the teeth very, very slowly. I was very conscious of trying not to ink over the teeth. The teeth were so tiny, it was hard to ink around them even with the Pocket Pilot brush pen that has like a very thin tip. It was worth the risk in the end though. I was happy having that as the darkest point in the mouth. I don't know why I didn't follow the line of my bow sketch. I feel like the original line I drew looked a lot better. I think at the time I'd been trying to make the bow look more natural, but I wasn't too fond of how it turned out. I did manage to fix it a little later on in the drawing, though. Now that I was happy with his face and his hand and the glass of wine, I started working on the back. It was kind of scary and a challenge to me with all the weird ridges and weird shapes. I tried to have a variety of lines and thickness so you could really make out Mr. Crocodile's texture. Then I made sure to add some texture on his hand and under his bow and ink the heart. I used dots to add more texture to his skin. I think partly to suggest shadow, but it was also partly just to bring out a reptile-y look to him. Like I've mentioned in my other videos, I get into kind of a different mind space once the initial sketch lines have been erased. It helps me look at the drawing with new eyes. I waited for the ink to dry before I finished inking the rest of him. I used little dots to add shading to his eye to make them more reptile and eye-catching. I sparingly added more dots and texture to the rest of his body as well, but not too much because I didn't want to take away too much from the line thickness. I really tried to use the dots to supplement rather than distract. I also tried to add a different variety of dots. Some are really thin, some are thick. I find variety in things not being completely uniform makes drawings of animals and organic matter a little more natural looking. I really wasn't happy with this bow and was quite delighted to find that adding polka dots to it really seemed to push it and make it look a lot better. I love polka dots, so I guess once I added them, I was focusing more on polka dots rather than the shape of the bow. And because I didn't put too much shading on the hand or the wine glass, I tried to make the wine look a little more interesting with some shady dots and bubbles as well. And this was the final, Mr. Crocodile with his glass of wine. Thank you for watching.